Well, it's good YouTube. This is your boy Nate coming through once again with another video. Let's get off into this video. I'm not going to touch on this subject for really long, but it's been a little rumor and it's been circulating a little bit on social media of the past. You think Donald Trump would pardon Diddy? He's pardoned NBA YoungBoy and a host of other celebrities. He commuted Larry Hoover's time. Do you think Diddy, aka the Diddler, aka the Booty Goon, do you think if he gets convicted, do you think Donald Trump will pardon Diddy? They asked Donald Trump. He was vague about it. There's pictures of him with Diddy at different social events. I'm assuming that these two had, have some type of friendship. Not saying they were best buddies, but they do know of each other and they probably attended each other's events. Donald Trump was very pardon Diddy. I wouldn't put it past him. If Diddy gets evicted, I wouldn't put it past Donald Trump or pardon Diddy. You guys can go and read that article on Yahoo News. You guys can go read it and get in my comments and let me know what you think. Do you think Donald Trump will pardon Diddy? Me personally, this whole Diddy saga and what's going on is just turned into a circus. I cannot continue to go on and report the information like I said I was going to do because it's a lot of disgusting, twisted, sexual, deviant desires that him and Cassie partaked in, and some other male escorts that he hired that Cassie was in cahoots with. It's not like Diddy put a gun to her head and made her do all these debauchery acts. I've been reading and going through it like just I don't know how to explain it, but I was going through the trials the first week that happened and just am I saying Diddy is innocent and he didn't do the horrible things that no, I'm not saying that. But he's on video of putting hands and feet on Cassie. So no way I'm not putting blame on him. However, it seemed like two junkies in a relationship, toxic relationship, nothing good is going to come out of it. Now they're saying Diddy is sex trafficking and all these criminal things, and it cut his car and being abusive towards the people around him, the people that work for. I'm trying to see the RICO charges, the RICO, and usually when they're and trying to convict somebody on RICO charges, it's usually a criminal enterprise. So I don't see anything of RICO charges, and usually that's dealing with, um, well, I don't know because I have to be careful what I say, but I see abuse. I do see abuse. Um, the RICO charges, I don't see that. Um, you guys can, if you come across this video, you guys can get in my comment section and correct me on that. And if I say anything out of pocket, if I do my research, I will retract what I say. Also, too, moving on to another note, I thought this was interesting. I thought this was interesting. And let me pull this article up. And, it's not really getting a lot of traction, but I did just kind of wanted to highlight this. I'm just gonna pull it up on my phone because my okay. Karine Jean-Pierre, Biden's White House press secretary, um, says she's no longer Democrat. I thought that was interesting. She no longer identifies with being a Democrat. Karine Jean-Pierre, who was the White House press secretary under former President Joe Biden, is no longer a Democrat, according to her publisher's summary of her upcoming book, Independent. The summary indicates that Jean-Pierre, a longtime Democrat who also worked for former President Barack Obama's administration and his presidential campaign, grew disillusioned with the party over its efforts to pressure Biden to drop their reelection bid last year. Biden ended up leaving the race for the White House weeks before the Democratic National Convention, and Vice President Kamala Harris went to become the party. You guys know what happened. Yeah, you guys, I don't have to go into that. Okay, so I'm gonna, until speaking on behalf of the President of the United States. At noon on that day, I became a private citizen who, like all Americans and many of our allies around the world, had to contend with what was to come next for our country. I determined that the danger we face as a country requires freeing ourselves of boxes. We need to be willing to exercise the ability to think creatively and plan strategically. We need to be clear eyed and question rather than blindly loyal and obedient as we may have been in the past. I want to focus on that. And I agree with her 100%. The problem with a lot of us Negroes is that we vote off how our mama voted, our grandmama voted, and so on and so forth. A lot of minorities are doing that. And we didn't do that this year, especially a lot of the Hispanic populations. Like, we're not just going to vote Democrat just because. And that's the problem. We're put into boxes. And it's like, okay, you're black, you have to vote for Democrat. Even Biden was talking that. He was like, if you're not voting Democrat, you're not really black. So they just this blind, loyal allegiance. Foolish. Okay, guys.